Image formats are also somewhat important. I'm not going to I could teach a whole class on images and image formats, but I'm just going to give you the basics. The most popular of all image formats, known for its entertainment value, is the GIF or the GIF, whichever. I'm I could go either way, and sometimes I just switch it up for fun. But we've had near World War III level battles over this online. It's very controversial. I would say GIF is probably phonetically appropriate because we don't say, I'm going to give you a nice Christmas gift, right? But we could say whatever we want. Graphics interchange format is what GIF stands for. It's very old, as are many of these. The first two, especially, PNG or Ping, is newer. GIF is old. But what GIF does, and all of these three have in common, is that what they do is make file sizes smaller. Because when we have all this data, all these numbers, every pixel has three numbers at least associated with it, that can result in big file sizes. And we don't worry too much about file sizes now because we're all on unlimited data plans on our phone. We all have high-speed internet at home, or many of us do. We don't worry about download speed or whatever. But in 1991, when people started sending images across a very, very, very slow internet, we did worry about those file sizes. Because if I emailed you an email that had an attachment that was a picture of my cat, I could lock down while your computer tried to download that over a very slow connection. It could take hours to download a big picture of a cat. Maybe you didn't even ask for it. Maybe I just spammed you with my cat picture, and your whole computer is just like grinding to a halt because it's trying to download this huge image. People said, hey, we got to figure this out. We have to reduce file sizes. So what did we come up with? We came up with ways to make the files smaller and still keep the images high, at a reasonably high quality. I won't say the same quality. That came later. So graphics interchange format, literally a format that was made for trading graphics, was invented. And the way it reduces things is through a process called color indexing. Basically, it says, okay, doesn't matter what the image is, you get a maximum of 256 colors. So when you look at that image, you pick the most commonly used 256 colors and the ones adjacent to it. Now, in this image, if I asked you how many colors this image had, you'd probably be like, well, I see red, I see white, I see green. There's like light green, dark green. I don't know, like 25. No. This image has millions of colors in it because you can see the variation. Each one of these is a different color. So what GIF does is it says, okay, let's pick some colors. We got red, we got green. It says, and anything that's not this color of red, but is close to it, gets moved to that color of red. So instead of having millions of colors, it only has 256 colors. And then what it does is it makes a list. Here are the most common 256 colors in this image. And it gives them a number, color number 1, color number 2, color number 3. Now, each pixel is given not 3 numbers, but 1 number between 1 and 256, right? A color index. So right there, the entire image, I've cut it by 2/3. It's now 30% just by indexing those colors. So that's how GIF works. GIF has a couple other tricks up its sleeve for reducing colors, but that's in a nutshell how indexing works. GIF also does a couple of interesting things in that it can do animations, which is why we love them so much. They're so fun to send to each other. And transparency, which sounds great. Sounds like, oh, that's cool. You can see through parts of the image. The problem is that GIF just says, okay, you've got 256 colors you've identified in this image. Which one should be transparent? You just pick one, and then everything that was that color becomes transparent. The result is pretty crappy looking transparency. And there's no such thing as partially transparent. So it's either fully opaque, you can't see through it, or it's fully transparent. Downsides. But at the time, it was pretty cool. And we were, people got really creative with these limitations and were able to do some things. One last thing that GIF does that's interesting is it does horizontal striping. So if I have an image that looks like this, let's say my image looks like this, and it's just blue and white stripes, horizontal. If I compress that using GIF, it'll get really small. But if I just rotate, if I take that exact same image, same size, same colors, same everything, and rotate it 90 degrees, so that it now looks like this, that same image will be much, much larger. And the reason is that GIF says, I'm going to see how many pixels in a row are the same color. So instead of saying like 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, like that, it says, no, if I've got 5 pixels the same color, I've got like 5 times 1. That's less information. So all it has to do is figure out ways to use smaller amounts of information to describe the image, which is much quality as possible. JPEG is another one. It stands for Joint Photographic Experts Group. You might see JPEG with or without the G. Okay, JPEG originally had a E in it for Experts Group, but JPG is the common file extension. This was made, as the name implies, for photographs. It uses a different sort of formula to reduce the size of files. What it does is it says, if I've got pixels, well, let's go back to the strawberry. You're going to get so tired of looking at this one. So let's say it's got these pixels right there. You can see they're all slightly different color. But what JPEG does is it says, let's just make them all this color. So it's reducing the information again. It's saying, okay, we've got a group of those 9. We're just going to average that color. We're going to take whatever color is in all these, we're just going to average it. And then we're going to put something that says that that group is 9, is that color. So that reduces the amount of file size. And the other thing that's interesting about JPEG is that you can adjust the quality. So maybe instead of a group of 9 pixels, you use a bigger group to average. The lower quality is, the bigger the averaging. This is called, there's a special name for it, right? It's called interpolation. And interpolation basically says, if I've got 3 pixels in a row, I can take the left one and the right one, and I can guess at the middle one. I don't need to save that information. But it does it on a much bigger scale. So JPEGs can be low quality or high quality, in which the lower quality ones have more interpolation and the higher quality ones have smaller areas of interpolation. And that looks really good in photographs because photographs have these lots of subtle variations in color. It works really well. What it doesn't work well for is things that work well for GIF. Things that work well for GIF because it has large blocks of color, cartoons, logos, text. JPEG works great on photos, but terrible at those other things. For a long time, for decades, those were the predominant 2 formats we had on the internet. You used a GIF for everything that wasn't a photo, and then for photos you used JPEG. As the internet got faster, we started saying, well, think we can afford to come up with some better, higher quality image formats because the internet is faster now. What can we do that still reduces the file size a little bit, but doesn't actually kill us? Now, portable network graphics uses a much more advanced formula. It has what's near lossless quality. In other words, you almost can't tell that it's a compressed image format. It almost looks like the raw image. And also, it supports alpha transparency, which means any pixel in that image can be between 0 and 100% transparent independently. So what we have is RGBA. We have a red number, a green number, a blue number, and an alpha number, which indicates the transparency of that pixel. So it's a little bit more information to save. It's a bigger image, but it's higher quality, and it works really well. So those are the image formats. We'll be working mostly with JPEG for this work, or PNG. Those two both do great for photos.